Good afternoon. My name is Attorney Broadie, and I want to welcome you to another edition of our Testimonial Tuesday. We're today answering a question from a young lady by the name of Grace. And Grace writes in and asks the following question. Grace wants to know, my ex-husband said he wants to terminate his parental rights. Can I do this without hiring a lawyer? She goes further to say, he is not able to care for my daughter and doesn't see her or call her. My fiance wants to adopt her. Well, Grace, we want to first thank you for submitting the question. And family law is a very interesting segment of law, particularly here in North Carolina. And when we're talking about terminating parental rights, what we have to do is put it in the context as all custody and district court proceedings are. When they pertain to children, they're conducted with the best interest of the child in mind. And with that being said, most courts are going to consider the best interest of the child is being parented by two parties. So the courts are generally going to frown upon the termination of a parental right, particularly when there's no other parent that stands in the place of adopting the child. Well, Grace's question poses an interesting quandary to that, because we can note from her question that she is engaged and her fiance is interested in adopting the child. Well, with that being considered, Grace, it would be my opinion that if you pursued this termination of parental rights after you were married, the process will probably be a lot easier. With that being said, once you are married, you can file a petition, or your husband can file a petition to adopt your child, your daughter. And in that adoption petition, there will be also a motion or petition to terminate the father's parental rights. In that context, the father, your ex-husband, can then voluntarily sign off on that petition, and it should be done, and that with minimal intrusion upon your father, or the child's father, your ex-husband, or the new father, the adopted father, which is your fiance. So with that being said, you may want to consider hiring an attorney to do the adoption proceedings. But if you were to ask your husband to adopt, your new husband, to adopt a child after you are married, there will be a petition to terminate the father's parental rights within that adoption proceeding. And that would take care of how you can effectively get your daughter adopted by your new husband and terminate the parental rights of the father. Now, the forms and everything that takes place in that proceeding may be quite daunting, so you may want to consider hiring an attorney to conduct that portion of the adoption. And in addition, in North Carolina, the general statute that pertains to terminating parental rights is that of Section 7B-1104. And if you were wanting to go forward with a termination of parental rights without the adoption, probably the most common grounds for such a request is that of abandonment. And the elements of abandonment will be found within that statute. You could file this pro se, but if you've never done anything like this before, it can be, quite daunting. So there might not be the best idea for you to attempt to embark upon termination of parental rights on your own. So you may want to consider hiring a lawyer in that context. And as I stated earlier, the courts generally frown upon an individual, particularly the father or any absentee parent, if you will, going forward on their own motion in attempts to terminate their own parental rights, because sometimes someone may want to do that when they don't want to pay child support or something of that nature, and the courts frown upon that because they're going to look at the best interest of the child is that child being parented by two parties. So I hope that answers your question, Grace. We do want to thank you once again for submitting the question, and we want to thank you all for tuning in to our episodes of Testimonial Tuesdays. feel free to post your questions on our Facebook page or contact us at www.carolinalegalsolutions.com. Once again, I'm attorney Robert Broadie, and you can contact us at 336-885-1-LAW. Thank you.